Welcome back to Real Cast Fishing. Your host, Glenn, with the City Mountain Fishing Field Team. And that said, we're just doing a little live stream here just to catch up on things. We've been doing a little mobile fishing live stream out and about, fishing different ponds, be it with some ultralight bait casting as well as some pond fly fishing. But we decided to just kind of circle back and get together with some of the folks here because, well, it's been hit or miss in some of these. Did some really good catches with the ultralight bait casting gear, but pond fly fishing has been kind of hit or miss lately. Not as good as the numbers I'm used to, but I did find out today that that foam damsel variant was pretty good. And unfortunately, I ended up breaking off on a turtle. Bummer, bummer, bummer. Anyhow, we did try doing one of these collabs where you can try doing a go live together thing, and that didn't quite work. So I'm trying to kind of test things here and see if I can get something working here. No, doesn't look like it's gonna work. So let's see. Mute button, yeah. And then here's a poll. I'm trying to find out what this other info is. And I believe we're live. Yeah, we're live. Okay. I've got the podcasting stuff set up right now. And I'm not sure what stuff we want to talk about other than this just talk fishing in general. And so some of the things that we've been doing here lately, starting out with that ultralight bait casting, been really happy with that live bait finesse combo ultralight bait casting set from the Shimano Corrado BFS XG. I was trying to set up a collab, but unfortunately you have to go live together and the stream didn't quite work out so well. Looks like someone just joined. Howdy, howdy. How's it going tonight? Let me see. I'll open up the chat deal here, see if we can take a look at anything that may hear. Live chat, anyone? Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah. All right. Oh, hey, Will. How's it going? All right. Yeah, I was trying to set up a collaboration thing so that we could do like a little Q&A thing because I think it's better if there's two folks talking, but unfortunately that didn't work out. Apparently you have to send out the link ahead of time for it to sync up, but hey, we can make do with this. I'll just kind of pay attention to chat, see if there's any questions that come in. Just kind of recap some of the things that I've been doing these past few weeks. Tried the ultralight bait casting piece. I really was pushing hard to test out the Shimano Corrado BFS XG, where I'm trying to use it for live bait fishing. And so far, I've been really happy with it. Went with that 7-foot ultralight casting rod from Shakespeare, the Ugly Stick, and it's turned out really well to do really well. Yeah, that popper would have been really good. Just unfortunately, I went fairly light with the gear that I had. What was it? I do know that I had several good strikes the other day when I was using a hula popper on an ultralight bait casting outfit just out of Bethany. So, yeah, I was expecting to get some bigger ones, but fishing in the dark with a streamer, it's hit or miss, especially with the smaller size one. I would have liked had more of a popper, like you said. That would have been really nice. And I know there's some nice sized bass out there, especially since I used the hula popper the other day and was getting some good hits there. All right, and for those that just joined, just really just talking, let's talk fishing, some fishing ramblings, just going to even update on some of the things that we've truly been doing, mainly just some pond fly fishing, as well as some pond ultralight bait casting, that bait finesse gear, and some of the recaps this past few weeks. I tried out the live bait finesse rod. It's the Shimano Corrado BFS XG on the Shakespeare ultralight, and ended up catching a few bluegill, fly fishing the feeder creek, and I headed out to Murphy Pond, the city complex pond, just down the road over there where they filmed Dallas, the what was it, the show Dallas way back when. Right over there at the city complex pond where they stock it with trout every year in the city of Murphy. There are some nice bass as well as catfish in that pond, and I was hoping to see what that live bait rod would have done. And what I learned as a key takeaway out of there was I tried 3 different setups when I was hooking the bluegill. I tried the dorsal fin, I tried through the mouth, and then I tried just behind the or right along the anal fin. And what I noticed was the anal fin was the best because uh, all the dorsal fin as well as the mouth hookup, the bluegill tended to run to shore and clobber up against all the weeds and whatnot. Uh, when I went with the tail hookup, it would dart forward, and when I started doing a sort of like keeping it sort of like a lure, I was just kind of dragging it slowly back, pulling back on the rod, and bringing the the bluegill off the bottom, and it was I could feel it jerking away, and I ended up getting a nice bass. I'd say probably about a 16-inch bass or so. So I was really happy with that, and a little just lesson learned. Just I found that worked out best when I was fishing that particular pond. I did see a nice sized catfish in there, but he did not want to play with the bluegill. Other than that, did a bunch of different casting and whatnot. One big one that threw me was I took out the flight feathered kingfisher with a Yuzuri snap bean, a little small lure, and I ended up getting a 28-inch catfish. Took about 5 minutes to land. I've got the video shorts as well as the long form mobile fishing live stream where I was out there, and you could see it real time action where I was really surprised. I was just using 2 pound test Stren mono, and I was really happy to see that thing could handle some good some larger size fish. Other things, did make a run up to Oklahoma and hit up the what was it Lake Thunderbird. Learned a few things there about trying to catch a saugeye. We didn't get any saugeye. We ended up getting some white bass as well as played around with the bluegill and sunfish that were closer to shore. I did start using some of those blade baits, and white bass worked out really well there. We ended up doing a uh, little cooking thing with the was it? I think it was 3 bass that we ended up catching. And then while I was up there, I found a replacement for my old Shimano tackle box, one of those carry-on ones. This one actually is more like a backpack, and in there I was able to stuff a whole bunch of gear in there. In fact, let me go grab it real quick, and we can go over that. Okay, I'm back. All right. So just to recap, well, I was up there in Oklahoma City this past weekend, and while I was up there, we did a little fishing at the Lake Thunderbird, and we were really targeting some of these saugeye over there that they stock. And unfortunately, we didn't get any, but we got some white bass. And while I was up there, I was able to replace my old Shimano tackle box. I ended up getting this Bass Pro Shop one. Okay, and this one holds like the 3600 tackle trays right here. I ended up getting some extra ones from Casking. And what I liked about this is this thing can hold, I believe, 11 of these little boxes. Right now I've got 4 in this bottom pocket area. Okay, and just open it up real quick. And right there, I've got 4 that came with it. Okay, right there, I got 4 that came with it, and then that blue one is a Casking. It's an extra one that I ended up picking up. And what I like about this is I cleaned up my closet that had a whole bunch of lures and whatnot in there. I just dropped something. Okay. that had a whole bunch of lures and whatnot, and I was able to get everything organized. And so, like down here, I've got some weights. I've got the stuff that I use to make the weed eater, shark leaders and whatnot. In the back there, I've got the mailing wire. There's a lot of room in this thing. And then I've got a set of lures that I'll be using when I hit Denison Dam for some stripers. Another set that I would use for when I'm basically pond fishing with normal bait casting gear. And then on top here, I believe, oh yeah, this is a bunch of Senko worms and whatnot and plastics. And so what's nice about this is I can just kind of flip through here and on the fly, depending on what fishing I'm going to do, I'm gonna just kind of switch things and whatnot. Let's see. And could you suggest for lures like sladsmans or favorite white bass hybrid striper in your experience? Just like just lake fishing notes. Oh, what I normally do is the slab and jig rig, and let me see if I can grab that real quick. All right, so I ended up getting 4 of these things right here. So I got 4 extra ones, and then I had another one. So it's the 3600. So here, as I make any adjustment in the fishing that I'm going to do, so these are some hard crankbaits and whatnot that I would use for fishing ponds with my ultralight bait casting gear. This is more of a trout setup. It's got trout magnets as well as some other lighter lures. Again, I'd probably use this one more for trout fishing. It's got some inline spinners, some super dupers. And what's nice about this is I can just take out what I need and replace what I'm fishing for in this tackle bag. And I like it because it's also a backpack. And then speaking of slabs and whatnot to do some lake fishing, this is the pack that I carry. And I'll go over that for Charles Cherian. Yeah, appreciate the question. Yeah, that's a good one. I can definitely talk about what at least has worked for me, and others can call it out as need be if you have other suggestions. But in my experience, what I've done, I normally kayak fish in the lake, the local lake for white bass. Additionally, I will do, I call it surf casting without the surf. I'll take a big surf rod and right up there. All right. There's a couple of Daiwa 12-foot surf rods, and I've got several different round reels. The what is it? The Abu Garcia, what is it? 6300 series. The round reels. I used to use those for surf casting without the surf, where I just go on a point, put on a heavy weight, and then I put a sabiki slab and jig rig together, and I cast it out. Ever since I switched over to the Penn Squall 2 reels, it's the old replacement of the Penn 525 mag reels, the ones that a lot of the competition long distance casters were using way back when. It got replaced by the Penn Squall. I picked up a couple of them, and I'll put them on boat rods when I'm pier fishing. But if I'm going to aim for a point and fish on land at the local lake, I'll grab the right up there. It's 4th one from the top is 2 Daiwa 12-foot surf casting rods that I'll put a 6-ounce weight, and then I'll set up a slab and jig rig. And when I say the slab and jig rig, slab will be on the bottom, and I'll have multiple jigs, be it crappie jigs or these I call them sabiki flies that I make out of Doritos and Mylar wrapping from potato chip bags. Slab and jig means jig tied at top and slab at top. Correct. And the bottom tied to a swivel. I don't use a swivel. See if I have a setup here. Okay. Yeah, I don't have one right now, but I'll describe it. Okay. So here's the slab. Okay. And these are ones that I pour with a do-it mold. Right. This will be on the bottom, and I'll have about a foot to a foot and a half of 15-pound test line. And then from there, I'll have a 30-pound main line, and I'll attach those two sections together, the 15-pound and the 30-pound mono, using a blood knot, barrel knot. And then from there, I will tie a sabiki tie where I put these crappie jigs, basically these guys right here, right? And I used to do 4 with a total of 5 hooks, and then I switched out to basically 2 crappie jigs and 1 slab. Just way too many on there with that many. Set up on a 10-foot surf conventional rod plus a heavy bait cast reel. Let's see. 10-foot surf. Yeah, that would work. Yeah. I'm basically using a 12-foot with a heavy bait cast reel. And if you see some of my old videos, you'll see me using that particular setup. If you look up, I think it's do a search on YouTube, COAF, and then Bretonia Park or Bretonia Point or Lake Lavon, and you'll see that. I meant a slab and jig rig. Yeah, that would work with the heavy bait casting reel. And you'll see in that video what I'm talking about. In fact, here, let me see if I can get my other my tablet and I can show you what I mean. A video is worth a 1,000 words, huh? All right, bear with me. Okay, I got the tablet here, and if you see, I think if you do COAF slab and jig rig, it'll also be an explanation on how I use that as well. Bear with me. Let me just log in real quick. Okay. All right, and I'll just do a search COAF, and then I'll just say surf casting. Surf casting without surf. Okay, here's some shorts videos here that you'll see right here. And
take this in with the Pensacola 15 reel,
okay,
and that Daiwa Sea Line surf casting rod. Went with the crappie jig.
I wonder if you can y'all hear that?
Sabiki rig.
See if I can make it louder.
Soon after, we had to switch out the slab and put on a weight. Practice in with the Pensacola 15 reel and that Daiwa Sea Line surf casting rod.
Bear with me.
Went with the crappie jig and slab set up, sabiki rigged. And soon after, we had to switch out the slab and put on a weight. Practice in with the Pensacola 15 reel and.
All right, I hope that gives you an idea of what I mean. So in that one particular video, I've got that 12-foot surf rod with that Penn Squall reel. I've got the slab and jig rig set up. In this case, it's 4 crappie jigs along with the slab. Additionally, when I'm actually on the surf itself or on the lake point, I'll actually switch it out and put a 3 to 6 ounce one of these torpedo sinkers. Let's see, what are the for shorter rods? Any other options? For the shorter rods, what I'll typically do is I'll just cut it down to 2 crappie jigs and the slab, and I'll actually fish from my kayak, and I'll fish it either trolling or I'll bottom bounce it where I back paddle. I'll cast out in front of me and I'll start back paddling and watching for that what is it, the vibration. And that's pretty much how I do it. I have fished for white bass from the pier. In fact, this past weekend I did, but I was just using a simple blade bait. Here's a 1 ounce torpedo sinker, but normally I'll use like a 3 to 6 when I'm doing that surf casting without the surf. Let's see what else we got. Use your squall align one. Oh, it's old school. No level wind. You got to use your thumb. But I do find that I can definitely cast for distance. I'm easily cast over 100 yards with it, no problem. Especially with that setup with that 12-foot Daiwa. Alrighty. Let's see. Any other questions? Okay. Looks like we got some folks joining from other places. Looks like Uday. Looks like we got some weird questions also. We'll skip the weird questions and go on. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Else, I'll talk more about some of the gear that I have here that I picked up, or at least put together as part of this tackle bag. Have 2 squalls, 15s, non-line winder, and they're on the Penn Prevail. Okay, excellent. Those are nice. Yeah, I thought about using the Penn Prevail initially, 10-footer, but I ended up having some old, I forgot the name of it now. I think they were a tackle or rod maker out of Houston, Rod Master or something. I have 2 of those that I initially was using as the 10-foot rods. I use a 10-foot rod mainly because the piers limit you for 10-foot max over there at Galveston Fishing Pier, as well as the 61st Street Fishing Pier. It's 10-foot max. I got the 12-footers. They were on sale from, I forgot the name of it now, Fish USA. I got them for like $30 each, and they're by Daiwa. I think the Sea Line, and they're really heavy, and they handle a 6-ounce weight no problem, and I can just yank it for distance no problem on a point. 7-foot heavy casting rods and bass reels with the 2 lets out of the cast slab and drink. That should be fine. In fact, I use a 7-foot Cabela's or Bass Pro Shops rod that I use for casting Cincos and a normal bait casting, not bait finesse style, just a normal traditional bait casting reel for bass fishing, and I can crank those out there no problem as well. Only thing that I noticed is you won't get the distance because of the line capacity on those bait casting reels, for like bass and whatnot. It's more of a shorter distance. The thing I like about the surf casting gear is, one, it's good practice when I do make it to the coast and I need to do some surf fishing. Additionally, I'm surprised how many windblown points there are available on various lakes. And if you just kind of stage yourself and it's a windblowing point with the shatter getting washed up onto the point and the shore and whatnot, you'll be surprised what you can catch just yanking out one of these slab and jig rigs for distance. And basically, a steady retrieve is all you really need. I've caught hundreds, 50 to 100 white bass, white bass, yellow bass, catfish, bass, just yanking those out on a point with no problem. Yeah, those have been pretty fun. Haven't done that lately, mainly because Bretonia Park is that's becoming more crowded, I guess. They built a bunch of houses compared to years ago when it was basically hardly anything there. But yeah, plus there's a traffic jam when you get there now. But they are improving the road, so hopefully things will pick up once they get that road opened up. All right, any other questions? Okay, so I'll go back to the tackle box. Okay, so this thing holds these 3,600 trays. I've got I've got 9, and right now I have 4 off to the side. So anytime I need to kind of switch things up, I'll grab one of these depending on what I'm targeting. So this is the one that I'll put in my kayak slab and jig rig. And these are some ultralight bait casting ones that I put in here when I'm going to do some pond fishing. Let's see. Right here is what I used. It was an antique lure right here, and I got 7-8 pound bass out of a pond in Oklahoma City. Actually, it was Norman, Oklahoma, right here. Went to an antique store and picked this thing up for $2. It's a Cisco Kid right here. and I was using it on these, was it a BFS gear, Scorpion, Shimano Scorpion BFS XG on a Bass Pro Shop Micro Light fiberglass rod, and I was able to bring in that bass. I've got video on it, and was really impressed there. On Lake Lavon, would Bretonia or Highland Park or East Fork have such wind blowing points? Bretonia does, or correction, Brockdale does. Bretonia, no. Unless the lake's down. Highland Park, you would have to kind of bust your way through to the one point. And other than that, you'll need to have a kayak. Ticky Creek, that one has several good wind blown points, but I'm not sure if they're still open or not because of the construction or whatnot. But typically, when I'm doing the surf casting without the surf, it's Rockdale. That there's a couple of points there that you can fish off of right by the parking area, and then Ticky Creek. There's one on that peninsula-like thing. You can go on one end or the other. Plus, there's one where you can walk out there and get to. My big rod is an Okuma Cortez on a 12-foot Okuma longitude. Oh man, yeah, that sounds like some good stuff. Maybe a Denison Dam trip. I haven't hit Denison, but I've been watching the generation schedule, and it's been kind of hit or miss. We did make some plans to hit up Keystone up in Oklahoma as well as Eufaula, but unfortunately, when we were up there, the generation schedule they shifted into the evening for like a 2 hour block, so we ended up skipping that. Clear Lake Park, yep, that would be good. The only thing that I have with Clear Lake Park is ever since they changed the what is it, the entry where it's the automated entry instead of the park attendant, you can't get there early. You have to wait till 10 o'clock. And I usually get the annual pass, and it's not. To me, I don't think it's worth it anymore because you got to wait till 10, and by then, that's a good 4 hours of fishing that you missed in the morning. And I tend to do better first light into early morning or later morning than waiting till 10 to hit the water. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, here. Since I got my deal here, let me see if I can show you that one that I caught using that Cisco Kid. Okay. Okay, and this was again using the Shimano Scorpion BFS XG, and what was it? I was using that Cisco Kid lure. Okay. Let's see. Let's do a quick search. Bass Shimano. Let's see if that'll show up. Okay, bear with me. Made a little typo. Bass Shimano. Okay. Okay, here it is. Right here. $2 vintage lure. Okay. And let me bring it up. Okay. Now, there's a commercial, so let's go through the commercial.
HomeQuote Explorer lets you easily compare coverage options so you don't end up overpaying.
Pretty loud, bear with me.
Really high-end stuff. I'm Glenn, City Valley Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube. And this round, we got a little quick update. This is that vintage fishing series that we mentioned. And we already caught a fish, starting out with the vintage fishing lure series. And in this case, it was the Cisco Kid. Yours truly caught at a pond up in Oklahoma. This baby right here. See it? And it's made by a company that starts with a W. I looked it up, and it looks like they got bought out by another company, but I think this lure may be like vintage 70s, 1970 time frame. So turned out to be a really good find. And let's see, I looked it up. I saw the model number, and I think you could probably still get one for 12 to $15, but luckily we picked it up at an antique store for $2 only, so that was a good find. And here it is again. That's that Cisco Kid, and this kicks off round one of the vintage fishing lure series. And do check out the video. It was a fun time catching this nice sized bass to kick off the vintage fishing lure series where I'm using antique lures on a bait finesse style rod. So stay tuned for more. Hey, we got a hit. I don't know what he is for sure, but we'll bring him in as soon as we can. Nice bass. Nice bass.
He's pulling really nicely on it. And I went to this pond on a whim. I just kind of went over there just to see if I could cast the lure, that $2 Cisco Kid that I picked up at an antique store. And I was using, I believe it was 4-pound test mono.
Let's see if I can bank him.
The rod is from Bass Pro Shop. It's the Microlight. It goes for like $25, I think it is, and it's fiberglass, really whippy. They put up a good fight. Here, I'll speed it up here.
Vintage Lure Series is going to kick off with a bang. A nice bruiser here.
Yeah.
All right,
pretty nice one. I ended up letting him go.
Nice.
So he's back in that pond. So if you happen by a particular pond in Norman, Oklahoma,
that we mentioned, and we already caught a fish.
Bear with me.
Series that we mentioned, and
yeah. So that pond is still there, and I suspect that fish may still be there also. Let's see, megastores, stripers, local business for Levon, Texoma. You know that things have changed so much. Those local businesses, the one place over there on the Vaughn, kind of closed out, and then Texoma. There was Dave's Ski and Tackle. Now it's I think it's still there, but now it just renamed it, and they've got some decent stuff to prep you for hitting Texoma. And then like Lighthouse Tackle, Kingston, Oklahoma. I think that's just north of that's on the Oklahoma side of Texoma. Let's see. Yeah, the vintage lures and whatnot. I typically will just go to an antique store, and you'll be surprised if you just work through the area. Take your time. There are some pretty decent gear out there when it comes to antiques, and they're well, you can get them for like $2 in some cases, and yeah, there's some more of the expensive ones, but you'll be surprised what some stuff is out there. I picked up an old Rapala, as well as some spoons, and then I got that Cisco Kid one that ended up catching that nice bass. Personal best, let's see, bass 8-pounder. There was another one from a pond local here. I'd say that was maybe more like 7-pound. Catfish, I don't know the weight of it, but the length of it was 31 and 33 inches, and those were caught jug lining from a kayak. White bass, I guess the biggest white bass I've ever gotten was about maybe I think a 17-inch one that just threw me. It wasn't a hybrid. I just was fishing, bottom bouncing, bang, I hit this thing, and a bunch of magnums went by, and that was the big one. Striper, 29-inch striper, 26-inch striper, yeah, 29-inch striper. And then let's see, some bull reds, 44s, 41s, 42s. Yeah, those are fun. And then we never really measured the big uglies, the black drum, but those were all caught on, let's see, basically some bait we caught, bait we caught using the fish bites. For the bass, okay, so one was that Cisco Kid. Another one was on a fly rod, and it was in February, believe it or not, out of Bethany Lakes. He measured 23 inches or 26 inches in length, rough guesstimate, 6 pounds. It went for a little jig fly that I tied on a whim using some really shiny mylar flashaboo and a pearl chenille. And it was back when I was working remote around the February time frame. Temperatures had dropped to freezing, but then they were warming up. And I just ran out there to Bethany, the back pond, and started casting. And End up getting that guy. Yeah, and it was a fly, fishing fly, for the catfish, jug lining, shad, white bass, slab and jig rig. Believe that went for one of the crappie jigs. I think I was using these little chartreuse and white ones back then. Not the quarter ounce, not the 1/8, but the 1/16, I think. Smaller size ones, believe it or not, and that's what they were hitting. Striped bass. Let's see. Clouser minnows, Crafter, Clouser minnow, chartreuse for one of them, and then the other one was also a Clouser minnow, but the your standard Clouser minnow, blue and white, and then I caught another one kayak fishing. October, freezing temps, but it warmed up, and I was using, it was a bucktail jig, the blue and white with the mylar, little mylar strip that were handmade, that you picked up at Dave and Ski Tackle back then. And I don't know who made them, but tried tying them myself, tried pouring my own custom ones, but I never could get it to do as good as those jigs. I have about three left from whoever made them back then. I don't know if they even offer those anymore, but I do have three left. And what I do is I'll put a fluke, uh, a zoom fluke on it, and usually yeah, a pearl, uh, and that one seems to do well. Yeah, caught that one kayak fishing. It was pretty fun. Let's see. Yeah. All right. I hope that answered your question. Um, let's see other things. Oh, let's go back to this 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 tackle bag. Okay, so the other thing I like about this thing is it does have these backpack straps that make it a lot easier. I was that other tackle bag I had from Shimano that I had for I think 20 plus years. They're just way too heavy to carry because I put a ton of lead weight in there, especially those spider weights when we're hitting the coast. But this one pretty much holds everything that I need. And on top of it, it's got an extra compartment. I can convert it over to do the 3700 trays and put them in vertical, but I do like these 3600s. And in here, I've got a lot of space to put some weed eater line leader material, as well as some extra spools. And there's still a ton of space in here that I could probably stuff it with more gear. But what I really like about here is I can make adjustments based on what I'm targeting. So let's say I'm going to go hit the coast, pull out the trays, and put in the trays that are related to fishing that. Additionally, if I make a run up up to Oklahoma, and we're gonna go try hit some stripers, I can make those adjustments. Same thing with Denison Dam, or maybe hit Possum Kingdom. Uh, Same thing there. I can make those adjustments as need be. What do you think about tackle box from Plano, the bigger guides, select series versus these bag types? Um, I, it's been a while since I've had the I guess your traditional tackle boxes. I still have one, an old one from Plano, and I pretty much use it just to just store stuff now. I kind of went to these bags because I just like that one fit perfectly in the pier cut that we use when we go pier fishing. This one I picked because it has the backpack straps here, because a lot of times, especially if you hit forgot the name of it now, not Keystone, but the other one, Eufaula, I believe. Uh, there's a lot of rocks and whatnot, and so putting this on your back versus carrying a bunch of other gear, I can free both hands up to get where I need to get the material there. But other than that, even if mobility is not a concern, I usually go light. When I do these quick trips, I usually don't bring a big tackle box. When I go kayak fishing, I mainly just have a little tackle tray, and then let's see, when we used to do those longer trips hitting the coast, and I had that big tackle box. Yeah, it worked out pretty good. But I find that I have more ability to organize things because of the different trays versus one that's just kind of locked into that particular um, box or whatnot. I do like the those little plastic baggy things where you can put your plastics. Uh, let's see, but other than that, it works out pretty good. I've been pretty happy with this one so far. It does have a rain gear or rain fly here that sits in. Uh, I did stuff in some rain gear as well as some other stuff as well. All right. Looks like someone else is talking about other things, so we'll skip that. All right. Other than that, uh, I do like the pockets on the side. They open up, and here I'm able to put all the tackle gear or whatever that I use to make the shark leaders when we're on the coast. Those work out really well. What I find is I'll have some pre-made, but usually something will make have to make an adjustment and whatnot based on what is out there. Let's see. Let me just. There we go. All right. Other than that, yeah, works out pretty good. Okay. And let's see. Oh, here we go. All right, so this is the one that I'd be adjusting to take to the coast, and it's just filled with a bunch of spider weights. Okay, and I was able to configure it so I can still get a hold of all the gear that I need be, as well as I did shift the other stuff so I could just these other weights that I have for more freshwater fishing. Do you carry rods and reels also separately and then assemble or fully rig rods directly to the station? They'll be in a. I got it over here. It's if we're making a trip to the coast, it'll go into a carrier, one of these, rod carriers, and I'll have it broken down so the reels won't be attached. Once we're there, we'll assemble them and pretty much keep them assembled the whole time, and we'll just put them in the back of the pickup and just tie them down and get where we're going. So they're pretty much fully assembled. If I'm fly fishing, let's say heading up to Beaver's Bend, Lower Mountain Fork, Lower Illinois, even the Blue, just a short trip up the road, I'll have those in a tackle, or what do you call it, rod bag or whatever, and I'll have them the line already through, so that once I get there, all I do is just put them together, assemble together, and already have the leader in place. Usually stay at a hotel, and let's see, do you camp or a hotel at the Gulf? We usually stay at a hotel. We time it in the off season. We used to go in May and June, and the prices were just crazy prices. And then we shifted to August and learned two things. When you go after everyone else is there, prices drop drastically, so we can stay there easily for the whole week at a much cheaper price. And then you have a different run. You got more bull reds, black drum running. You got different sharks and whatnot. And then as you shift, and we just learned this recently, as that shift into later part of August into early September, you're starting to get the fall bite where you're getting some larger speckled trout as well. Let's see, Bryce from that, you're the best. All right, thanks, Bryce. I'm not sure best. Just trying to keep folks informed because hey, what's our motto? Learn to fish by our trials and errors. Because we're just average Joes, but we're avid fishermen. So you won't see us going on those fancy trips where you spend tons of money to go catch these really big fish up in like take a helicopter ride and whatnot. No, that's a little bit too pricey. Instead, you'll see us hitting ponds, local lakes, things that we call it the average Joe would be able to do fishing. Plus, the other thing is we do want to be able to just say you can still catch some good sized fish as well as some good quality fish without having the really expensive gear. A lot of my gear is accumulated over the years. I have a tendency not to throw away any fishing gear. Somehow I always end up repurposing something. And then at the same time, what I also discovered is there are some things we picked up over the years that you can't get anymore. I've got a couple of the Abu Garcia round reels, the red ones that we used to use back on the coast when we're wade fishing. Uh, yeah, made in Sweden. They don't make those anymore, or at least they're not as good a quality as they were. Stuff like that. Let's see. Apart from Galveston, what are the good areas you experience in the Galveston Freeport area? Okay, so Seawall Park, definitely like that, especially speckled trout, sabiki rigs there. We met some locals over there that showed us some good things there. Additionally, if you can fish the upper part of the water column, at least when we were there in the August time frame last year, end up losing some good size bull reds as well as sharks that were kind of hovering in the area. And then the let's see, Seawall Park, and then let's see, Freeport. I forgot the name. It's Surfside, the jetty there. That's a fun one to go to. We've done that several times where we hit Surfside and then we go back up to Galveston. Definitely like that, especially if you're using live bait and fishing the jetty. That's really fun to see what bites. Other than that, I haven't really done too much other than that Galveston area. I do want to try Bolivar Peninsula. Just take the ferry over there and kind of find a place there and camp out or stay somewhere and see what that bite is, because I've heard some really good things about the shark fishing there. Me personally, South Texas guy. I grew up Port Aransas, Corpus Christi, that area, Padre Island, North Padre Island area, and so that's where I pretty much learned a lot of my saltwater, be it the bay or beach fishing. Prefer to catch and cook fresh or store them up for later. See, catch and cook fresh. Prefer fresh. When it comes to catfish, jug lining, freshwater, it's okay. We just flash freeze them and we'll store those. White bass, we pretty much just go ahead and cook them right away. Crappie, you got to eat those right away. Those are tasty. Striped bass, depending on the size, we'll typically just steak those and eat those. We won't freeze them. Just get those eaten fairly quickly. So really, just catfish is the only thing that we'll store for longer periods. Uh, in the case of saltwater, sand trout, speckled trout, you definitely don't want to freeze those. They just turn to mush. Those, just keep them on ice and be able to eat them as fresh as you can, as soon as you can, because yeah, they get really mushy. Let's see. Best tasting ones, I prefer saltwater. Intro ones and freshwater. I really like redfish, especially when they've been feeding on the blue crab, because then they get that blue crab taste. Uh, Speckled trout, definitely like them. Golden croaker, you can't beat a golden croaker. Those are always tasty. Let's see. No, I wasn't able to hit rollover pass before it closed. I was bummed over that because we had made several plans to make it there, and then we learned that they closed it. And yeah, that is one of the places I did want to try. Smoking fish, yes, but mainly saltwater, and that was back when I was living in the Pacific, or fish living on the West Coast. Um, Smoked mackerel and bonita, yeah, and yeah, they taste good. Alrighty, any other items you want to talk about? I got time. It's not too late, is it? 10:15. Okay. Yeah, I got a day job I gotta do, So I did tell you about the tackle bag. I definitely like that. I like the 3600 trays. Give it more versatility, being able to switch things out based on the species I'm targeting. Uh, really hot and heavy on the ultralight bait casting, mainly because I've got that speckled trout bug. When I met this individual who taught us a lot of lessons about fishing for speckled trout under the lights, definitely got my blood going when it came to doing that, because we definitely saw some nice sized speckled trout under the lights over there at Galveston. Going to try smoking cats and stripers soon. Ooh, nice, nice. I know this weekend I've got the smoker out. We're planning on doing some smoking, but it's just gonna be chicken and turkey. All right. All righty. Let's see. I don't really think I have anything else to call out at this point, but all right. Yeah, this worked out good. I'm trying to do this collab, but I'm trying to figure out how you send out a link to someone and how you can touch base and be able to basically do an online podcast, video podcast, and do a Q&A, because it works okay when you're doing the chat feature, but I believe it's more one way in this case versus if I had another individual and we can do that collaboration where we go live together. I think that'd be a really fun one to try doing. So if anyone's interested in doing that, ping me on the community tab or one of the comments on this one or others, and just say, hey, you're interested. Maybe even throw out a subject or two you want to talk about, and let's see if I can get this collaboration go live together feature that's available on our mobile phones. I'm kind of excited about trying that out, and definitely welcome anyone else who'd like to try that out with me. All right. All righty. Thinking about chicken and ribs this weekend. Oh, nice. Chicken and ribs. We did some chicken ribs and see some pork steaks this past weekend, but we're just going to do straight smoking, I believe, a whole chicken, and I think maybe even a turkey breast. Yeah. I think that's the plan. At least that's what I understood at this point. Anyhow, okay. Well, appreciate y'all joining. Will, always good to see you online like that. And then those that are were able to converse here, appreciate y'all joining. Love the engagement here. I do like talking fishing. If I ain't fishing, I can definitely talk about fishing. All right. And if anyone is interested in doing one of these go live togethers, just ping me in the comments or ping me in the community tab, and let's see if we can set something up. All right. Do a live Q&A where you can see some engagement, and maybe that'll trigger some additional questions and whatnot. All right. And Charles, yeah, appreciate it. Take care. Oh, deer season's almost here. I haven't been deer hunting in a while. Sure is fun, though. All right. All for now. Next time, we'll catch y'all later, and good luck and good fishing.